All right, welcome everyone to this explainer. Look, if you're a first-time homeowner and you're staring out at your yard, watching your sprinklers completely drench the sidewalk, your neighbor's driveway, or just, shoot straight into the street, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're building the ultimate weekend warrior guide to taking total control of your yard's irrigation. We're going to demystify those sprinkler heads, specifically those super popular rainbird rotors and spray heads, and literally turn you into a sprinkler master in under 10 minutes. Sound good? Let's get into it. So, here is our game plan for today. First, we'll cover the essential tools. Second, we're raising a sunken head. Third, finding the fixed left position. Fourth, adjusting the spray radius. And finally, shortening the water stream. All right, section 1, gearing up for the job. Now, if you've ever felt kind of intimidated by those little pop-up heads hiding in the grass, don't be. The absolute best part about taking ownership of this system is that you don't need some massive truck full of expensive contractor gear. Honestly, you probably have most of this sitting out in your garage right now. For adjusting those Rainbird 5000 series rotors, you'll definitely want the specific green Rainbird adjustment tool. It's got this little cross at the end that fits perfectly into the top of the sprinkler. If you're working with standard spray heads, a regular flathead screwdriver is your best friend. A pair of channel locks can also be super handy for ratcheting the body of spray heads, and yeah, a small shovel and a bucket are absolutely crucial for the dirt work. And that's it. That's the whole shebang. Moving right along to section 2, raising a sunken head and getting out of the dirt. So over time, as your turf builds a thicker root system, or maybe the ground just naturally settles, your sprinkler heads can basically get swallowed up. They sink so far down that the grass completely blocks the spray, and you're left with these awful dry patches and water just bubbling uselessly into the soil. To rescue it, grab your shovel and dig a nice, neat circle around the buried head. Pull out the sod and toss that dirt into your bucket so it doesn't get permanently lost in your grass. Now, listen to me on this one, because it's absolutely crucial. Do not just stick your shovel under the sprinkler and try to pry it up. No way. If that head is connected to a rigid, hard plastic riser underground, prying it is going to snap that pipe right in half and, well, then you've got a much bigger plumbing nightmare on your hands. Dig down to actually expose it. If you see flexible tubing down there, then you can gently lift it up to the proper grade. And that leads us to this incredibly important piece of advice. Get that head as straight as you can and pack the dirt as tight as you can. Why does this actually matter? Well, think about it. If you just loosely toss the dirt back in, the very first time someone steps on it or a lawnmower rolls over it, it's going to tilt. And a crooked sprinkler head means the water spray tips right along with it. You'll end up flooding one side of your yard and completely missing the other. So pack it tight, get it perfectly vertical, pop your piece of sod back on top, and give it a firm step to level everything out. Okay, section 3, finding the fixed left position. This is your crucial starting point. Now, before you start messing around with how wide the sprinkler sprays, you absolutely have to establish your baseline. With Rainbird rotors, the left side of the spray arc is permanently anchored. It's a factory-set stopping point, and you literally cannot change it with a screw or a tool. It's just baked in. Now, other brands like Hunter are fixed on the right. But knowing this left-hand rule for Rainbird is the secret to avoiding a massive headache. If you don't start from the left, you're just going to be endlessly chasing your spray pattern in circles. To actually set this up, physically grab the pop-up part of the rotor, turn it a bit to the right, and then twist it all the way back to the left until it clicks and completely stops. Boom, that is your hard left edge. Right on top of the rubber cover, you'll see a little arrow. You want to align that arrow perfectly with the hard edge of your watering zone, like exactly down the line of your concrete driveway or the edge of a fence. To do that, you're essentially twisting the entire body of the sprinkler under the dirt until that left stop lines up exactly with where you want the water to start. Section 4. Adjusting the spray radius, or in other words, controlling the width. Since our left wall is solidly locked in now, we're solely focused on telling the sprinkler how far to sweep over to the right. Take a close look at the top of the sprinkler head. You're going to see a plus and a minus symbol. Take that green Rainbird tool, the one with the cross end, and pop it into the matching groove on top. Make sure it's really seated down in there so you can actually feel the resistance. When you turn it clockwise toward the plus sign, you're increasing the radius. You're opening it up for a wider spray arc, stretching it from, say, 90 degrees out to 180 degrees. Conversely, turning it counterclockwise toward the minus sign decreases the radius, bringing that right side boundary closer to your left side starting point. Keep this firmly in mind, though. A little bit of a turn makes a much bigger difference in the radius than you'd think. You wouldn't believe how many first-timers stick the tool in there and just wildly crank it 3 or 4 full rotations. Please don't do that. Small, patient adjustments are the absolute key to a perfect arc here. Just give it a tiny quarter twist. Manually rotate the head to check your new right-hand stopping point, and then fine-tune it from there until the water perfectly skirts the edge of your lawn without washing the neighbor's car.
Finally, Section 5, shortening the water stream and dialing in the distance.
Okay, so we've set the height, locked the left side, and perfectly dialed in our width. But what if the water is spraying completely over your grass and landing 3 feet into your favorite garden bed? Sprinkler nozzles are designed to throw water a specific number of feet, but let's be real, yard shapes are rarely perfect rectangles. So the crucial question you have to ask yourself is your water stream just shooting way too far forward? If it is, we need to manually deflect it. And this is exactly where your standard flathead screwdriver comes into play. On both rotors and standard spray heads, you'll find a little set screw right in the top center, directly above where the water actually shoots out. Pop your flathead in there and slowly turn it clockwise to screw it down. As that tiny metal screw drops in front of the water nozzle, it physically deflects the spray, which shortens the overall distance the water travels. But here is a major caveat. Do not over-loosen or over-tighten this thing. If you back that screw completely out trying to get maximum distance, there's literally nothing holding the nozzle in place anymore. The water pressure will launch your nozzle right out onto the lawn, and you'll be left staring at a massive geyser. On the flip side, if you crank it down too far, you'll choke off the water entirely, or the nozzle will just constantly plug up with tiny pieces of grit. So adjust it just enough to keep the water right where it belongs, on the grass. You know, this whole process brilliantly illustrates the power you actually have as a homeowner. We've walked through grabbing the right tools, rescuing those sunken heads, setting up that fixed lip foundation, dialing in the perfect radius, and dropping the distance down so you're covering exactly what needs watering. Nothing more, nothing less. So I'll leave you with this final thought. With your green key and flathead screwdriver in hand and your sprinkler heads perfectly adjusted to the inch, how much water and money are you going to save your yard this season? Get out there, grab your tools, and take back your weekend. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy watering!